Probability practice exercise 46. A certain disease has an incidence rate of 0.1%. So let's figure out how many people from our population or our sample of 10,000 would have that particular disease. So we're going to move that decimal 2 places to the left. Or we could divide that 0.1 divided by 100. And that would give us the same thing, which is 0.001 times 10,000. And we're going to get 10. So to get the number of people that don't have the disease, we'll take the 10,000 minus 10, and we will get 9,990. It goes on to say the false negative rate is 8%. Okay? False negative. So those are the people who test negative, but they shouldn't, right? Because they had the disease. We'd expect them to test negative if they had no disease. But to be negative and have the disease, that's false. So that means we need 8%, so 0.08 times the 10 people who actually have the disease, and we're going to get 0.8%. So to get the number of people who tested positive who had the disease, we will subtract 10 minus that 0.8% and get 9.2%. They told us that our false positive rate is 3%. That means we would expect that 3% of the people who didn't have the disease tested positive. So that would be wrong for them to test positive, right? If they didn't have the disease. So we're looking for 3% of 9,990. And that will give us 299.7. So at this point, let's go ahead and subtract the 299.7 from the 9,990, and we will get 9,690.3. So now we'll calculate our total of positives by adding this particular row, and I get 308.9. Calculate the number of people who tested negative by adding the contents of this row, and I will get 9,691.1. Okay, so at this point, they're asking us to compute the probability that a person who tests positive actually has a disease. So we are looking for the probability of people who have the disease given they tested positive. Okay, so that'll be 9.2 divided by the total people who tested positive was 308.9, and so we multiply that by 100 to get a percent, and we're going to round this to the nearest tenth, so we will get 3%. I go ahead and put the 0 there, so that indicates to the reader that I actually rounded that to the nearest tenth of a percent.